All right, let me quarterback what roughly the next 53 or so minutes are going to look like. I'm going to try to hold it to the hour, but I'm notoriously uh, late on things at times. So we'll do the best we can with it. But really, guys, this is an apprentice spotlight. And I want to start off with why, not what. It's like, why do we do these things? I think it's important to celebrate the wins. And one of the things that I felt in my career was potentially the only thing that kept me going was seeing other people around me win. Whenever I started in the business, I was 23 years old, and I felt like, well, I'm 23, I look 17, nobody's going to sell me a property, especially hold the financing on it, and probably unluckily for me, I'm now 38 and maybe look closer to 45 or 50, but maybe not. But the only thing that kept me going during that time was seeing that a now great friend of mine, Jared Wilson, was also 23 and he was doing deals. And then later on, I was like, well, maybe it's not my age that is keeping me from doing deals. Maybe I just don't have enough time. But then I met Jerry Ricky, and Jerry was doing deals part time as a full time teacher. He was buying houses either on his lunch break or after work, and he had less time than I did. And so it was seeing people that were, kind of trailblazers before me, blazing that path that really gave me the initiative and the perseverance to really just keep going. And that's a big reason why we do these spotlights is we want to celebrate the wins for the apprentice, but then also you guys learn a little bit about their story, what they're doing, what worked for them, what didn't work for them, so you guys can gain those lessons and really take them and create some actionable steps to put into your business, and really hopefully put you in a position of building your belief muscle. Because I'm a firm believer that uh, your peer group, show me your friends, I'll show you your future. And being around people that are all up leveling, coming up together, I think is super important. So we were going to have this last week, but there was something that happened. What was it? Oh, Trump destroyed the election and just completely took over with this red wave. So that's what happened last week. And so Wes, my guy Wes said, I'll do it, Brad, but I'm going to be like an all MAGA attire. And I was like, that'd be cool with me, but I'm not sure how many people are going to show up. So we decided to move it back a week. I appreciate Leah and Wes being with us. Um, so here's what I want to start with the interview. So we'll do like kind of interview style for a little while, and then you guys can ask whatever questions that you want. We'll do that mostly in the chat, but you guys can come off mute and we'll just have fun with this. But one of the things that I think Lee and Wes had a little bit of maybe an advantage on is because they were like friends of ours first. So they saw me doing deals, and they knew like I wasn't here to fib to them on like what we were doing. And so I think they had a little bit of an advantage within that. But um I guess Leah, West, like take a minute and kind of tell us your background prior to real estate, and then any real estate experience that you had, and then like kind of how real estate happened for you.
Go ahead. I'll launch an interview.
Okay, so
I think you're
um,
muted.
can you hear me now? Can you hear us?
Yeah. Okay. I think it was me actually. Go ahead.
We didn't know anything about real estate. We'd only bought our house. We've sold a lot of houses. We've still never sold a personal house. So we didn't really know anything. I didn't know what a title company was, even though I'd closed a house, my own personal house at one, apparently. So Wes is in flooring. So he's kind of in the
Well, they're gonna do me.
real estate world. Okay. But yeah, nothing really. We saw you doing deals and Wes was like, we got to do this.
Yeah. So what we met them and we are friends, and basically I do business development for a flooring company, and so National Contract Flooring, best flooring company in the Southeast. If you need anything done, give me a shout. Um, so we were doing flooring for Brad. We're friends outside of it. We were also doing flooring in all of his houses. So I was kind of seeing how many houses he was buying, and I'm like, this guy's buying up everything. Um, and we'd be out to dinner and he'd look at his phone, he'd look down and be like, 60 on that one, 80 on that one. And we'd leave like after we were like friends for a while, we left dinner and I was like, yeah, do we like we'd be friends with him even if they didn't make a whole lot of money. Does he have to act like he makes all this money on these houses? And then at some point it kind of clicked like, oh, he's just kind of like going over his day. This isn't like he's like boasting in it. It's just like, oh yeah, there's 60 in equity on that. There's 80, cash pop there. It's just kind of normal life. And so at that point we were like, hey, I think we should join that apprenticeship program and kind of figure out what he's got going on there. Which, we did. And
which Brad never sold to us.
yeah, never sold to us,
I think we had to ask
Well, I
for it
guess
like
he
3
did
times.
sell it and watching him. So
Well, I was trying to keep y'all from doing it because, like, at the end of the day, it's additional complexity. You know what I mean? It's like y'all are buddies. And so let me just kind of quarterback and tell the story on this. Like, we went out to Hibachi, and it was me and my wife and 2 children, and my kids are pretty well behaved. And so, like, at Hibachi, you sit with some people you don't know. Well, across the way, it was like Wes and then 5 children. And, like, I think it was like descending order almost in terms of, or ascending order in terms of height, and then Leah, and my wife sat next to Leah. And so they started talking, and but I was amazed at how well these children were behaved. And my kids were pretty well behaved, but they were still like throwing rice and those kinds of things. And their kids were just like perfect. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So we got together with them, and then friendship happened, and that was cool. But I wasn't really trying to get you guys into real estate because like I've done that before and tried to push people into it. Like my buddy Phil, from my best friend from 6th grade, and I got him to do one deal. He made 20K on that deal as a wholesale, but he was kind of a ladies' man, but he didn't have a car or a house. Like he like kind of just couch surfed from lady friend to lady friend, and he got a 20K deal done. But it was like, and he did that 20K deal. He blew 20 grand in like, I don't know, like 10 days. Had a great time, I think, and never did another deal. So like I've tried to push people into it and like force them to do deals, but it's like it never works. But this worked out really well. Wes, do you remember that time that I had a lead come in and I was like, I'm sure nobody's taking this, and you're like, hey, can we go to the car and like me listen to you? And it was some dude in Atlanta, but I didn't buy it. But it was like I could tell at that point you were kind of interested.
yeah, oh yeah, that was definitely me going, all right, what's this all about?
Yeah, right on. So what about real estate kind of called to you? Like what was it that was like, oh, I think because you could have done crypto, you could have done Amazon, like all this stuff. Like what was it about real estate that was interesting?
We might have different responses to that.
Yeah, go ahead. What do you think? What was your
I guess for me, like I'm interpreting that as like my why. I mean, like you said, we have 5 kids. I feel like for us, it was an easy way, or not easy, but a way to build generational wealth for them and to be able to, to give them something like, I'm going to give you a house or a few houses, or, this portfolio of 10 rentals and things like that. And we have a child with special needs who he's going to be independent one day, but financially will probably need us. And so for me, my big why is making sure he's got a pretty good life. And yeah.
Yeah, so for me, doing the flooring thing, we're in 8 markets across the Southeast, and 95% of the work we do is for investors, iBuyers, and SFR companies. So we're doing 10 to 15 houses a day in all those markets, and I'm watching these people buy all these houses. I'm making good money off of putting flooring in the houses, right? But there was a gap between my knowledge of doing the floors, and then like how do we get into the next part of it. So then that's when seeing the apprenticeship program, it was like, all right, that bridges that gap and kind of helps me get in the game.
Gotcha. Yeah. So whenever you guys decided to do this, was it like with trepidation, like, I'm not really sure? Or was it just like, hey, we're going to go ham sandwich on this thing and jump in head first?
We're kind of both feet in, we're both very much like that, so we were kind of, yeah, go ham, let's go for it. The thinking about it, the counting the cost was leading up to it. It's like, are
Yeah.
we going to do this? Are we going to do this? So when we made a pivot to go, it's go time. There's no.
We also both thought before meeting you guys and talking to y'all that we needed a lot of money to start. So like real estate, I guess, is something we talked about before, like, oh, we should, I guess maybe a lot of people say this, like we should buy some real estate, we should get some rentals.
Yeah, everybody says
It was just something we said, but it was like later when we have a lot of money, we'll do that.
Yeah. Wait, you didn't start with like 10 million in cash?
Nope.
Okay.
Sure.
I just wasn't sure.
we had,
All
we
right.
had we had a little cash, but no, we didn't have 10 million. No.
Yeah. And like, look, guys, the cash at a certain point can actually be a problem. So like we've had people come to the apprenticeship and they have, you know, 2, 3, 4 million in cash, and that is a different plan, but they never really learn how to deal structure and like how to raise money. And I've had people literally have 2 million in cash and they think, oh, that's enough money for me to use to like go and do the business. And it is helpful, but like whenever you are really, really good at purchasing amazing deals, you can blow through $2 million really fast. And then what do they have to do? Then they have to learn how to deal structure. They have to learn how to go and raise money. So like it's actually a benefit to the people. Like, not that you need to be destitute. That's not what I'm saying. Like if you're behind 3 months on your rent, now's not the time to go and buy houses, right? But like most people have between 5 and maybe 20, 25K to start with us. And so like I think that that's a reasonable thing. And people have driven Ubers on the weekend to make the business work. They've had side hustles to make the business work. Like it's really the commitment to the business that makes the biggest impact. But it makes sense that you would start off to where like you had a little bit of something to work with, but you weren't like rolling in cash to get started. So were there any other like big misconceptions that you had about the business coming in?
I mean, we didn't have a whole lot of conceptions, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that you need a realtor and, you know, basically just the way people think about buying and flipping houses, you know, HGTV style type stuff, you
Right.
know.
Right. Right. Right.
You got to buy the house, you got to do the big massive rehab, you know, it takes forever and, you know, then sell it and waiting forever. You know, there's just the creative finance aspect of it, deal structure and things like that. I mean, that was all completely foreign, you
Yeah.
know, to us entirely. So those were probably our biggest misconceptions. I mean, the not, you know, you don't need a whole lot of money. You need some, but not a whole lot. And then just the way to go about doing it, just being able to walk through
Yeah.
those talk tracks. And again, being friends with y'all helped out with that, you know, seeing the way, you know, and then once I'm around you and I'm seeing you do it, and then we go to the apprenticeship program and like you're looking, we're going through the materials and it's like, oh, that's exactly what Brad says. Like there's not like a,
That's how he buys
because
houses.
that's the thing, anybody that, you know, people that don't make it or whatever, you know, people make excuses. I think it would be a tendency to be like, well, Brad must have some secret sauce. And it's like, yeah, he gave you the sauce. Like you didn't apply it. That was the problem. You know,
Yeah. That makes sense. So tell us about marketing, first leads that come in, like kind of take us through from the time that you decided to do the business until your first deal.
sure. So I handle all the leads when they come in. So we started running our ads, got our website set up, and I mean, it's probably about
You bought our second lead.
okay. So I bought our second lead,
Oh,
and
wait a second. So you had two leads come in and you bought one.
Yes.
So did you know that that was a deal whenever you like all right, so tell me about the call. Let's just start there.
was this what was her name? I'm trying to remember. I'm sorry, I should have done a little prep. We've been driving all day. Um, oh, what was
Just speak from the heart,
She loved
man,
us.
not from the notes.
She gave us a great
Yeah,
review.
she gave us a great review. It's on our website. I'm gonna call her Cindy. She looks like a Cindy in my mind. It was Cindy, and she wanted to get out of her house. She needed to move to Florida. She had
Oh,
like
that's not
a
what we're not talking about the same house.
which one are we talking about?
I'm talking about Kingsport.
Oh yeah.
That was
Okay.
our very first house.
Okay, we can go with that one. Go ahead.
Well, you just bought our second house. I mean, yeah, it was just a cheap house. And it was terrible. It had burn damage on the side of it. And Brad was like, yeah, you can sell that. And so we
Oh
drug our
yeah.
feet a little bit. So
That was a good one. Yeah.
yeah. So we ended up somebody wanted it. Somebody bought it, owner finance.
Yeah.
Wasn't our best deal, but like kind of made us a believer in you can sell a house that
Has burn damage and
needs
doesn't
the
look great.
electrical redone in order for the electric company to come turn it back on.
Yeah. You get
And
an inspection and the inspector comes back and calls you and says, this is the worst I've ever seen. The floors are caving. You know, just that awful thing they always say because they don't know what we do. It's impossible. 60,000, the rehab's going to cost more than the house, yada, yada, yada. You know, the same, they always do that.
and by the time we marketed it, somebody was within like a month begging us to sell it to them. So
Yeah, you know,
So, all
and
right, okay, cool. So lead comes in, house is dilapidated, cheap house, fire damage. You're able to sell that with owner finance. Explain what owner finance is, because I'm sure somebody's like, "What do you mean owner finance?"
go ahead. Well, I mean, go ahead.
Where we just act like the bank. You know, they don't have to go to the bank and get financing. We own the house and we'll finance it to them.
Okay, cool.
No,
So
they
you
own
buy the
it, get
house.
the payment.
Okay, cool. So you buy the house, you sell it under finance, you get a down payment, you get a note, you get payments per month. So what would be the benefit of doing that versus holding this thing as a rental?
Well, we would have had to sink so much cash into it to get this
Yeah.
thing livable. Well, somebody thought it was livable.
Yeah, we'd have to sink a lot of cash, do a big rehab, and then whenever their AC breaks, they're calling you, and this thing, golly, I can't remember if he even had AC, but AC breaks, they're calling you, sink breaks, they're calling you, toilet breaks, they're calling you, door creaks, they're calling you, floor dip, they're calling you.
The shed
Like
burned down and they called us.
these people, the shed burned down and they called us and we told them to file it against their insurance and they did because they have insurance on the house. So when that shed burns down, if we're owner financing the house and it's in their name, they
Have to
then
fix it.
file it with their insurance and you know that's
Right.
on them, not on you. And everybody understands that up front,
Yeah.
which is great. It's the opposite of rent. That's when people a lot of times, oh, is this a rent to own? No, no, it's not. Not a rent to own. You own this
Yeah.
house, you know.
True owner finance. Okay, cool. So do you remember the numbers on this deal? Maybe not because you kind of mixed up what deal was first anyway.
Yeah,
But
this one isn't as fun anyway. You can move on to
Apache Trail,
yeah. What is her name?
Rhonda.
Linda.
Linda. Oh, it's Linda. That's it. It was Linda. So the numbers on this, I mean, roughly what were they? We got it for
25.
16.
25.
We got it for 25.
Kingsport was 16. We one of us is really good at one part of the business and one of us is really good at the other part of the business.
that's perfect.
I can buy the crap out of them, and I usually have a good memory. I'm having
We did a 20, you bought it for 25, we rehabbed it for 25, and we list it for 150. At the Beach Grove. Linda, she had like drug people living in her house. You got them out
Oh,
for her.
yeah.
And she went to go live with her sister in Florida.
Yes. Okay, Beach Grove. Yeah. No, I know this one now. I was talking about the previous one. Yeah, so on this one, we got it for how much is 25?
25.
Yeah, 25 now, 25 later.
No, we bought it for $25,000 cash. We just paid 25,000 for it.
That was
And
a
then we
great deal.
rehabbed it for 25,000.
Okay, we got a great acquisitions guy. So yeah, Linda, this one was kind of close to our house, which we usually don't get to go in person because they're usually further away. But this was like 20 minutes from our house. So I talked to her on the phone, kind of established the fact that, she won't sell this house. It's a, um, legitimate lead. I went out there and met with her. She had like her daughter, crackhead daughter was living in the house, and there was some other guy living in another room. And basically she was just in such a spot. She's like, I got to get out of here. I got to move to Florida. But really, like, she couldn't, I don't know if it was her conscience or whatever, maybe she was scared of the person that was living with her. She was like, I can't kick him out,
Mm.
So basically, like, I need to sell you this house and
You deal with my problems.
yeah, you deal with my problems, which they were problems. But for 25, yes, ma'am, we'll take it. She was happy with that figure. How much do you want for the house? 25. I think we started at 45. And after we kind of walked through the house and looked at some stuff, and is that the least you would take 3 times? We got down to 25. And
I would like to clarify that this is a mobile home
yeah,
too.
mobile home.
Okay. So bought mobile home on land, 25K. I remember this neighborhood because I looked at this one with you guys, and it was not where I would want to personally live. I'm not anti mobile home, but I am anti that neighborhood full of mobile homes.
Like the mobile home mafia lives out there or something. It's like the only place anywhere near Nashville where people are like, "Ooh, gotta be careful out there." But it was fixed it up, rehabbed it, sold it for. We had 3 offers within the first week, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we got like 5 or 6 offers, and then something fell through. We had to relist it. This is the one that we had it under contract twice for 150, and this was spring of 22, and so the appraisers were doing weird stuff, and
Yeah.
one appraised for 150 and one appraised for 130, so or 120, something like that. We were going to make 100,000, and we ended up making like 75.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So was that your second deal?
Second deal. Yeah.
Second deal. Okay, cool. So the first one you bought cash, you sold owner finance, created a note. The second deal you retailed, exited, created 75K ish cash pop, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I guess like how did that change your belief system around the business, if at all, that deal?
Those were both huge because one was a mobile home and one was in such poor condition that it
Mhm.
was like,
Yeah.
and the mobile home was in really bad condition too. But I think for us, it was, yeah, I mean, just like our first two deals weren't pretty. They weren't 300 and $400,000 houses. They were cheap houses that, the people that live there didn't have the means to make it what it needed to be, or
Yeah.
yeah.
And it was, I mean, proof of concept, right? So
Yeah.
this is real, and it doesn't,
Yeah.
doesn't take, you know, millions and millions of dollars in your pocket, cash on the front end, like it doesn't take all that. And you can buy houses that would be seemingly undesirable for like me personally to live in, but it provides a house for a lot of people that need somewhere to live, and they like it. So
That's right, guys. We're not our seller and we're not our buyer. You
yeah,
know, we're here to solve the problems, and the the profit that you make in a transaction is commensurate with the size of the problem that you solve.
yeah,
And so the first deal, dilapidated property, second deal, drug addicts living there, big problems to solve. So it makes sense.
they're happy, and both of them were happy. You know what I mean? It wasn't like we were like taking advantage of them. They were very happy.
Well, the first one, it was an inheritance. It was her brother's house. She didn't want to go inside. She just wanted to
Yeah, I remember that.
be
And
done
she was
with it.
splitting it up with like four people. I remember now. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
So
Linda was just ready to go. And I think we helped her out. We paid for something on the way down to Florida for her. Like she just wanted to get to Florida. And I can appreciate that. MAGA
yeah,
country.
no doubt. No doubt. So how long did it take you guys to hit seven figures in profit?
2.5 years.
Two and a
Okay,
half.
2.5 years. So can you speak to doing the business part-time? Because Wes, you're still working full-time, and Leah, you're homeschool mom and five children.
Yeah.
So, like, how in the world do you do this business part-time? It seems like impossible. So, like, speak to that.
Well, I got an interruption.
Well, Wes first then.
Yeah, I don't want to like. I feel like I've maybe sold this wrong to some people because it does. When you're like a high functioning team like me and her are, like it seems easy because it's just what you do is you try to kill it, like you try to go get it. Like she goes and gets it and everything. Like she does a great job with the kids, keeps the house. Like she's awesome, and like I go get it at what I do, and so it's a grind, we've got another. I've got a full-time job, she's got a full-time job, and then we both got another full-time job that we split, so I mean
Mhm.
there's no easy path to get there, right? I mean it's not easy. The easy part is the fact that like you provided
Everything.
everything, the materials and whatnot to like plug and play, but I mean it still takes a grind, it still takes effort. I mean she's set up the systems and stuff for the back end. They're crazy, Other people probably have several people in their office doing what she does, and I'm the best closer in the business. So no,
He's bragging on you, Leah.
yeah, yeah. I mean, so it's she's great. She's great at what she does. She's great at, I was just telling him that, I think we've like sold it to some people's like this is easy, but that's just because of our personalities. Like we go get it,
Oh,
Like
yeah.
if
I
people
made
are
that
looking for
mistake.
like how do I put it? It's not like a retirement gig. I don't know how to say that.
I don't know what you mean.
You got to go get it. Like you got to hustle. It's like anything in life. Like if you want to win, like you got to put in the effort to win. I guess that's just all I'm saying. If Brad's provided the like
Yeah.
like the material, like what you need, like
Yeah.
here's your kindling, like go start a fire.
Yeah.
It's not going to ignite itself, basically. Go ahead. You can give your take
I
on
forgot the question. Sorry.
it.
Yeah, I mean, just how do you manage part-time? Because you're
Uh,
full-time homeschooling.
I was telling him,
I
I
will
was like,
say
you got a
How do you
full-time job,
manage?
I got a full-time job, and then we got another full-time job that we're
Yeah,
splitting.
yeah.
Like it's takes grind, Like
Well, I think that we spent the first year though, like being really committed to learning it and
yeah,
doing it. And
Yeah.
we just so happened to start at a good time. Like our kids were good ages. They were like 1 to 9 that year that we started. And I don't know, nobody was having any like crucial milestones or, I mean, that's some crucial time there, but it was just a good time for us to take that year and kind of just really focus on doing this because we were just like, we just have to have this. Like there's this, like now that once you have all this information, like you can't like unknow it. And so if you don't do anything about it, I don't know, we couldn't live with it, just wasn't an option to not do it. Um, and so we just took that year, my life looks really different than it did 3 years ago. Even down to like the people, I mean, I don't even talk to the same people I talked to 3 years ago because we were so committed to doing this. And we have a really full life that seems really stressful to other people, but I don't know, maybe me and Wes just really like stress. But I mean, for the amount of work that I put in and Wes puts in, we're getting paid pretty well. So
Yeah, very well.
So what does that look like on, say, a day-to-day sort of a thing? Are you time blocking a certain amount of time to work on the business, or you just have some flexibility to where you can take a call or a lead? Like, kind of walk us through that.
So on my end, like I have a lot of flexibility to where like when, I'm handling all the acquisitions, I'm handling all the inbound calls and most of the dispo, all the calls, on the dispo side of things. So, with my job, I'm not like in meetings or like sitting in an office all day. So I'm able to get to leads pretty fast, 5 minutes, barring I'm in like something major. But other than that, like I'm able to get to those fast and answer and do all that. So that's from a time perspective, my part of it is a little bit because I'm so flexible, I'm able to do that. But hers is kind of, you can kind of share with your.
yeah, you're interruptible. I don't know. It's like different seasons have looked differently.
Yeah.
I'm in a season now. I guess I really do protect my morning time with the kids. That's just when the kids are freshest and most fun to be around. So I
Fair
take
enough.
advantage of that time. And then I usually do early afternoon work. But I spent a lot of time creating systems and processes and hired somebody to replace a lot of what I did. Maybe earlier than like a solopreneur would do. Just because once we had like we did our first, I don't know, 7 to 8 deals ourselves before we hired, somebody else. So we had like a really, I knew what I wanted. I was, this is how we're going to do things. And so, I have somebody doing basically like all of our transaction coordinating and, our bookkeeper takes care of our notes and sending out statements and things. So, I have replaced myself, and I'm just kind of managing and overseeing a lot now.
Cool. Makes sense. So my wife and I, we work together as well. And I remember one time we had a conflict. We didn't agree on something. So I'm curious how you found really balancing working with your, like, within the marriage. So how does that work?
You know,
We never
so
fight.
no, just rainbows all the time. I'm reading this book, the E-Myth Revisited, and it's talking about, in an entrepreneur, there's like the manager, there's the technician, and there's the entrepreneur, which is kind of because we both started this, I mean, really together. I mean, it's I'm more the entrepreneur and she's more the manager. And it's funny because I've just seen it even at like my other job. Like there's the sales side of things, salespeople, and then there's like the office people. Like there's always conflict between the salespeople and the office people and any admin and things like that in any business. So it's just learning basically to stay in our lanes, I think, when it's something she needs done for me, detail wise, I gotta like pump the brakes and go, yeah, that is important, you know, and she needs that, because if not, that, I don't not hear about it ever. So, you know, I would say that more than anything, just being able to stay in our lanes and
Yeah.
know what we're good at, know what she's good at, know what I'm good at, and kind of,
I think there was also a time, we didn't really talk about this beforehand, but where I just said like I'm holding this business like really loosely. If this is going to be a problem for us,
yeah,
it's not worth it. And I don't have to have this. I was doing great raising 5 kids. Like I kept myself busy enough raising 5 kids and homeschooling. Like I don't need this. And if this is going to cause conflict in our marriage, like it's just not worth it. Like I'll just walk away. Like you can have it or, whatever. And he kind of said the same thing. And so then it was just like, well, we're not giving it up. Why would we, like this is dumb. Like we need to get past all this. Um so I think that there was just like motivation to just both of us just express humility and recognize what each of us is good at because we're very different. And yeah, so that's been good.
Yeah, that makes sense. My wife and I are quite different as well. I'm more the chaos uh creator, and she's the chaos coordinator after I create the chaos. So I suspect you guys might be similar. Um, so in the chat, the question is, says, I have 6 kids all at home, and I'm curious about the actual hours and time commitment is needed to get geared up to do a deal. How many hours should we put towards this each day or week to start seeing things grow? Also, is it possible to do on our own without our spouses? Yeah, I think absolutely. Most people are solopreneurs, but I do have probably a dozen or so husband-wife teams that we mentor. So I guess like how many hours per day or week do you guys see was needed at the beginning, and how has that changed over time?
Well, I would say um it was a joke for a while that Wes buys houses in twos. And that's just kind of how this business is. Like, if Wes papers 2 or 3 deals in one week, it's going to be a busy week, 10, 15 hours. And then 2 weeks later, it's kind of dead. We're just kind of waiting on title or, depending on what's kind of going on. So, I think that's kind of the good and bad in the business is like sometimes you are extremely busy. And then, we just got away for 4 or 5 days in the Smoky Mountains last minute trip and we didn't really have anything going on. But if we did have houses that we just got under contract, we were working through, we would have been working, on the trip. So I don't know. I know that doesn't really answer the question, but I think too, once you understand it and everything does go faster. So
Yeah.
there's just gonna be a learning curve.
That's
So
what I was gonna say. As far as like like when you're first starting out, like you need to be on all the calls, you need to be hitting the material up. So like it's a big time commitment on the front end, but very easy to block off because you know exactly how when the calls are. Like you look at the schedule, this when the call, I need to be there on this hour. I guess they're recorded if you wanted to do it like that, but it's always helpful to be live, be able to ask questions. So that in the beginning, yeah, there's like a real structured time commitment, but once you get to a certain point, like she was saying, it does seem very much like it's maybe a grind a week or two, and then it's kind of like, oh, what happened to all that work? It was kind of, we're kind of almost drowned in there for about a week and a half. Now it's like, oh, we're swimming, and then you get more drowning coming later, but it's a good thing. Gives us a lot of time freedom. We're able to go do stuff. And, we were like she said, we were out of town for 4 or 5 days and like we're just managing a couple of rehabs, and
Yeah.
she's a VA that's doing a lot of the back end work and where it's just a call to say, hey, go find we need somebody to do landscaping here. Like, can you find somebody? But that's because she's created systems and processes.
Right. But and to talk about that, I mean, I think the best part about the business is as long as we have our cell phone, we can work. And probably the worst part about the business is as long as we have our cell phone, we can work. And so like to jump into this, for most people, having 5 to 10 hours a week that you can really focus on the business and then the rest of the time just having some availability, I
Mhm.
think you can make the business work. So question in the chat, where have you found virtual assistants and how do you pay those people?
we have just happened to find ours through people. I actually met up with somebody that I knew when we lived in Knoxville. She was going to be in town, and then I found out she was a VA, and so I've had personal connections like that. And then she was kind of changing business models, and I actually like to hire homeschool moms who just want 5 to 10 hours a week, and so that's kind of who I've ended up hiring just by chance. And yeah, that's worked out well for us.
Cool. One of the things you said earlier was, if we have a week where we buy 2 or 3 houses, it's going to be a busy week. I think that was probably impactful for people because most people are trying to buy 2 or 3 houses a year. So I guess kind of walk us through, what does purchasing look like? How are you finding deals? Like all of that.
So yeah, Eric Baker is the one that runs our ads, so we do the Google PPC. Um, what's Eric's company? 42?
Partner 42.
Partner 42. So I think you can find him somewhere in the material. So he does a great job getting us leads where we're trying to, we're running stuff in Tennessee and Kentucky and Alabama right now. So
Okay.
those have been good spots for us. And we run those leads, whenever we get a little notification on the cell phone text, we call them and go after it. I don't know kind of what were you asking?
Yeah, I think that pretty well covers it. And so do you know offhand, like how many leads per contract you're at right now?
Oh, we were talking about this the other day.
Last night.
Yeah. Like 11, 10, 11.
I don't know where you're at. Yeah, probably something like that.
I was saying 7, but that was probably just to
Oh,
try
no,
to
that's-
boost my confidence a little bit. But it's probably 10 or 11, 10 or 11.
So around 10 to 11 leads come in, you buy one house. I mean, guys, that's hyper efficient. And this is why we do search as opposed to other forms of marketing. We don't want to drive for dollars endlessly. We don't want to cold text 10,000 people and have like half the responses angry at us. We want to deal with people that have a problem. They've already identified it. They want to sell a house. And so we want to be like, if I can give you guys one thing tonight, you want to be in a position where you're found when someone wants to sell something, not be asking everybody to sell you something. We want to be asked to buy something. So, question in the chat, are you guys all remote and do you sell a lot in your own region?
So we live in Murfreesboro, right outside of Nashville. So we don't buy a whole lot real close by to us because we're competing with, billion-dollar hedge funds and everybody else is buying the crap out of houses around here. But that's not, I mean, we run ads here. I think other people's ad budget's probably astronomically larger than ours. So I mean, we're buying stuff we live in Middle Tennessee. We're buying stuff up to 4 or 5 hours in all directions, and that's not because I'm driving. That's not because we're driving to the house necessarily to check on it, but just because we know the area better. I don't know what's going on in the middle of Oklahoma, and it's a comfort factor. But look, there's plenty of people in the group that buy houses all over the place.
But to answer the question, we are doing everything remote. We don't go see the house. We don't go rehab the house ourselves. More than half the houses we've bought and sold, we've done it without stepping foot on the property.
So you're buying and selling the house and you never see the house
all the time.
Would that have seemed kind of crazy 3 years ago?
75% of the time. I'm kind of a little bit more particular, and if it's close enough, I go see it.
I don't want to see it.
Yeah, I'm with Leah on this. I don't remember the last house that I saw that we owned.
Yeah.
Like really, I'm gonna have to think about that now because I really don't remember. So I mean, but does that seem crazy? I mean, that seems kind of crazy. I had a
it was crazy to me, bro. It was crazy to me. It was crazy, and I'm in I've been doing flooring in the.
That's because you guys go check your flooring. I don't want to check anything. Somebody else is just going to send me a happy little picture.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, there's ways to check without being there in person, and so we've just found out those kind of hacks. You do have to verify your work, or you're going to get hosed by subcontractors. But there's ways to do that without being there. So but no, at the beginning when it was like you never go see your houses, it was like this is crazy. I can never imagine, never in a million years. Like Jen being in Nebraska and doing a house in North Carolina, was it?
Yeah. Wait, her house that she did?
Yeah, but she did one that was over there, wasn't it?
Yeah, North Carolina.
And never going to see it. You're like, what? Like that's foreign to me. I mean, look, I'm not being sexist or anything, but like a female in Nebraska just rehabbed and sold a house in North Carolina without ever going there, and you got a bunch of dudes sitting around swinging a hammer that would say that's impossible.
Yeah, you're right about that. I haven't really thought about that, but that is cool.
Mostly ones that are actually swinging a hammer would go, no, can't do it. No way they could do that. And I'll be honest, I was partially in that camp, to be honest.
Well, now we know. Question in the chat from Daniel: when you started, what was your ads budget, if you remember?
$1,500 a month.
Cool, $1,500 a month. So another question in the chat from Stuart. So it says, so you guys don't do any bandit signs or local marketing. Your focus is primarily / exclusively ads, Google ads, search ads.
Yeah, we've done it. We've done a little bit of bandit signs, but yeah, I mean Google ads. It's and we've run anywhere from like 1,000 to 1,500. At some point, we might have bumped it up to 2,000. And we've kind of
We went up
gone
to
up and down.
3,000 at one point, and then we actually found that when we bumped it back down, we got like more I don't know. But we've never been over 3,000 a month.
Yeah, it's weird. We haven't.
That's really cool. So you guys had a marketing budget, started off at 1,500 and never went over 3K per month, and did $1 million net in the time frame that you did. I mean, that's pretty cool. So question from Mike, how do you handle key partners such as title company, real estate attorney, insurance, etc.? I assume Mike means like finding these people across different markets.
The group, we get a lot of recommendations in the investor creator community. So yeah, that's pretty much how we found
Yeah.
them.
I was going to say that's probably true. I mean, in almost every market, we have a title company or a closing attorney, or we can find them just through the network. So that makes
That's a
sense.
question down there in the group, and it gets answered fast.
Well, and we also got saved from a bad title company. We had title sent over to that one in North Carolina, and we were at Mastermind, and somebody told me that they wouldn't do the seller financing to us without having the security instrument, and
Right.
we backed out of that, immediately. So it works both ways, who to avoid and who to use. So
Yeah, that makes sense. Any advice on company structure? Are you guys still a sole proprietorship? Do you have an LLC or a corp? Like, kind of tell us about that.
we have an LLC.
Gotcha.
Well, two
LLC.
LLCs now. We have an LLC for our notes and an LLC for our flips.
Cool. All right. So you have an operating LLC and then one for holding.
Yeah, but we didn't.
We just did that. In the beginning, we just had one that we did everything through.
Well, no, we bought the first couple in your personal name.
Yeah.
Yeah. And guys, I did the same thing. I probably did dozens of deals just in my personal name to start. It's funny. I've seen a lot of people say like, oh, I really need to set up my asset management. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, give me your list of assets. Let's see what you have. And they have no assets. It's like, well, let's get some assets before we start figuring out how to protect those assets. So that makes sense.
That's super important. You can't get paralyzed before you start on figuring out stuff like that. I mean, people do all the time. They get just paralyzed. They got to figure this out and they got to figure that out and figure this out. I mean, dude, just buy the house. Just
right. That's it.
paper it.
Yeah. Like more good deals fixes everything. It's like, yeah, totally agree. What's been your favorite deal so far?
Well, one sweet thing is we got a house through not PPC, but through a friend. Now that we've been doing this for a few years, we've got people saying, hey, this house, at the end of our street's like dilapidated. You want to check it out? Or people will just kind of bring us deals. So somebody brought us this deal in Knoxville, and we actually went by there today. And it's diagonal from the house that we lived in when our second was born. And so it was really cool, like going to like the old neighborhood, seeing our old house and like buying this house, like diagonal from this house that, yeah, it was just kind of a walk down memory lane. So that's kind of been a fun one.
So we said we never went to the houses. We just happened to be coming back through the Smoky Mountains through Knoxville. So that's why we went by that house today.
Well, and to see the old
yeah, just to
house and be nostalgic.
Yeah.
But I would say my favorite though was probably Harriman.
What about it?
Well, we made $113,000.
Oh yeah, let's talk about let's tell that story. What happened there?
This is the one outside of Knoxville.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's the one I was thinking too. Yeah, I didn't forget Harriman, but yeah, that's my favorite one.
So we're in agreement there.
Yeah. So as a guy, he inherited it, and
he called you in between his dad's wake and funeral.
Yeah, just ready to get rid of this thing.
Dang.
He's on saying, "Hey, sell this house fast," and talk to him. Hey, walk through the talk track. What's the least you'd take for it, kind of thing. What are you thinking? And he was at
70.
He did start off pretty high, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the least you would take? I guess I could do, I guess I could do maybe 55. Yeah, okay. All right,
Well, then y'all were at 55, and then he wanted to call you the next day. Remember? I took 2 days.
and then he called me back.
Yeah, he called you back, and you told him about your flooring.
Oh, yeah, that's what I did. And then so I was like, he was talking about he needed flooring at his house. So I gave him
His personal house.
personal house. We got it down to 35 and gave him flooring at his house, which was an excellent trade. He didn't get $20,000 worth of flooring. Um, but he was happy. Again, I mean, I think that's a recurring thing. Like, yeah, we made $113,000 on this house, but like he got what he wanted, and through us negotiating the way we did, we ensured that we captured as much equity as we could out of the house while he got exactly what he wanted to. It wasn't the guy had no buyer's remorse. He said he's going to call me back sometime this year. He's supposed to call me back to get more flooring. I mean, like, we were good.
We also thought the house was it was a very small house, 820 square feet, 620,
Yeah.
something extremely small. And so we thought that it was maybe worth 100. And after talking with our realtor that we use up there to sell houses, she was like, we can list this for 175.
Oh, wow.
So that was kind of a lesson too, that sometimes it's good to just paper things because you don't always know what you have,
It's always good to paper them.
Yeah, so go to contract quickly and then figure it out later. What's been your least favorite deal?
Okay, yeah, I wanted to say this too. This was the second deal that we did. Okay, we bought a house for $1,600. Look, just because a house is $1,600, if you don't know what you're doing, that doesn't mean it's a good deal. You might think, hey, this is $1,600 for a house with a roof on it. Like, you might be stuck with that house for like a year and a half, and it may be the biggest pain in your neck. And you may have some guy try to take you to court and sue you because that was just really his storage shed house. So just don't do it. Just don't do it. If it sounds too good to be true, it might be. I mean, that house was in not Dyersburg,
Humboldt.
Tennessee, man. And a girl inherited it from her mom who died, but the boyfriend was using it as a storage shed, and just horrible. The numbers might have worked, but like I just thought 1,600, whatever. I'm not going to do any kind of thought on it whatsoever, because how could you pay $1,600 for a house and not make money, But you see these other deals we're making 60, 75, $113,000. Even if I made, which I didn't make, we like broke even on the freaking house after a year and a half of headache. Even if I made $10,000, like, it's such a waste of time,
Yeah.
Like, there is
just put $1,600 into the PPC machine.
Yeah. Raise your ad budget 1,600 next month if you think that's a great deal. Like,
I thought you were going to say the lake house. Wes went on a summer stint of, if any OGs are on the call, of buying anything near water. Lake houses. Remember that, Brad? The summer of lake houses, anything that was near water, Wes was papering.
I love it, man.
I was like, I would see a lead come in, I'd look it up, and I'd be like, Lord, please don't let this be near a lake.
I know we're going to talk about this one.
So anyway, it's fine. We didn't lose money. We haven't lost any money.
No, we didn't lose money on it. I just had again, here's the two things. The two bad deals were when I went off of the darn script and didn't do what the program says to do. I saw a lake house. It wasn't 70% of value, but it was beautiful. And I was going to make it my lake house. And our family was going to go there and we're going to barbecue and we're going to have all these memories. It was going to be, like an Instagram, we could have had an Instagram channel around this beautiful lake house.
And we're not lake people. So
no, we don't. I don't ski. I don't wakeboard. I like fishing from the shore. So anyways, we broke even, and that was an interesting story. But again,
I have one very similar. So, the only 2 times I've ever had to pay interest on a house that I got seller financed were the 2 lake houses that I bought. Okay. And so there was a time I had 2 lake houses, and I found out 2 things from having 2 lake houses. Number one, you can only be at one lake at a time. So I didn't really need 2 different lake houses. But then secondly, my wife hates the lake. And I think it's because whenever her mother was pregnant with her, they went out on a lake and the boat sank. Okay. And so her mom had to like swim back to shore. And I think like there's something that happened like from mother to baby, like in your utero, whatever, that caused my wife to just be terrified of the lake. But I sold both of them. So I hear you. But I mean, so I guess on both of those deals, you didn't lose money, but those were the worst deals that you had.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, I just want to reiterate, and this, and I'm not paid to make this statement. Like it was two where we like didn't do what we were supposed to do, you
Yeah.
know? It was like me thinking, oh yeah, well, I don't even have to think about all the things we've learned, like $1,600, got to make some money on this, or
Yeah.
I don't have to take this as a call. I don't need to ask James about this. Like, you know, whatever. This is a deal. The deal or no deal, definite deal. 1,600, but no, it was not a deal. And I think anybody would have told me if I would have taken it and been like, hey, there's this house, da, da, da. They would have looked in the neighborhood and be like, this is a crime-ridden, just crack houses everywhere. There's barely a roof on that house. And the front door, don't buy it, dude. You're gonna waste so much time. And again, with the lake house, they would have looked it up and I would have tried to sell. I would have tried to sell James on look at the value in this. Oh man, look at these other things being built around this lake, man. It's going to be worth so much in 2 years. And he would have gone, is it 70% right now or not?
Yeah.
Not a not a deal. Like just go on, make money somewhere else. So that's kind of,
That's so funny. A friend of mine bought a quadplex in St. Louis for 9 grand and thought, oh man, it's quadplex $9,000. He's like the best day I've ever had in my business when I sold that thing for 4,000 because he bought it and there were two murders in the building. Okay. Separate occurrences. It's like you have murder one on one date, you have murder two on a different date. There's only 4 units. I was like, man, no, there's no price to deal with that kind of stuff.
yeah.
So a few more questions in the chat. We'll wrap it up. So number one, handling contractors remotely. Do you have any advice on that?
I'll take this one.
Google their name first. Make sure they're not like convicted murderers, probably. Yeah, that's one. That would be my first rule of thumb.
We can tell that story. You want to tell that story?
I was like, there's got to be a story here.
I just
go
told the
ahead.
story.
Okay, well, Leah wanted to, we were doing pretty well, kind of trucking along, and Leah wanted to try her hand at doing the rehab part of things. Go ahead.
Well, so I hired a guy. He was very eager, and he showed up. He communicated so well. Showed up every day, and kind of just did a really bad job. Such a bad job that when he had to finally pass me off to his friend who actually knew something he didn't know anything from the beginning. His friend alerted me to how bad his friend had done the job. And so then I did some investigating and found out that he was also a convicted murderer. So
Had just got out of prison for murder on somebody.
he didn't have to go to prison.
Oh, he got off. Yeah, he got off.
It was
self-defense.
Self-defense. It was a bad drug deal. It was a drug deal gone bad. And he shot somebody and killed him. So I didn't really enjoy that.
Yeah, Google their name. That's the moral of the story. Just try to Google if their name and maybe their company
No,
has
okay.
reviews.
Let's give a serious answer.
No, that's a serious answer.
Okay. Yeah.
Definitely Google their name. That's for real. Because a lot of people have Google reviews and things like that.
Yeah.
You see, Hernandez contracting on the back of their truck. You look it up and the dude's ran out on 3 people in his last 2 months with jobs. You can figure that out, We actually on the flooring side had to fire a guy because he had his company, it was an employee, he had his company on the back of the truck, and we looked up his Google reviews and we were like, dude, you're a swindler, man. You can't be part of our company, so people, if they get screwed, that's when people go write reviews, usually they're not going to get on there, write something positive. So definitely worth checking out. Pictures, and don't pay anybody until everything's finished. Don't let them cherry pick your scope that you give them and do the things they want to do and make the money and leave you high and dry with, out changing the lights out or the outlets or something, where then you got to go find some other contractor to do the worst part of the job because you're going to get screwed. Nobody wants to do that, first of all. And if they find somebody that will do it, the money's going to be horrible, how much they charge you for it. So I'd say that's pictures to verify work, and don't pay anybody until they're finished with the job.
Well, I think what I learned more than pictures, if you're not dealing with somebody that like, for example, we just used a good contractor right outside of Louisville, and I posted it in the group. Like, we had this contractor, he was great. So if somebody else hires them, they can trust their pictures and videos, because even in pictures and videos, you can kind of do a certain lighting or angle to not highlight, glaring problems. But partnering with a realtor, if you're going to list it with a realtor, partnering with a realtor who's willing to go over and lay eyes on it and kind of check the work for you would be a good way to get somebody boots on the ground. They're about to make 3%, on the sale. They can head over there a couple times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree. So one of the questions in the chat, that's a good segue, was about realtors. So you guys are using realtors to list the properties, and I think you just had an exception, correct, on the Shelbyville house?
So this is the house. I could not get a single realtor to call me during the due diligence process to give me like comps for what they thought that it could list for. We bought it such a good price that I wasn't really, we could move forward without comps. Um, and we were in the middle of the rehab. We're calling people saying, hey, we're coming to the end of this rehab. Or no, at the beginning of the rehab, I'm talking to some realtors. Hey, I'd love if you could go out there and just kind of give me your advice or your opinion on, should we get cabinets, or do you think we can paint them? Go lay your eyes on the house. Tell us like what you think is, must have things that we can skip. Because good realtors will do that for you. I couldn't get anyone to call me back. I couldn't get a single person to call me back and then we're nearing the end of the rehab. Hey, we're nearing the end of this rehab. We're investors. We're getting ready to list this house. Couldn't get a realtor to call us.
Now,
So I forgot what the question was.
well, I'm gonna say this,
So we listed it ourselves. I'm done.
Yeah.
I got so pissed off that I just.
and I'll never say anything in defense of realtors aside from this one thing, because I don't like them at all. But the one thing I'll say, and Brad, you spoke to this before. Like, there's a lot of people doing what we're doing now. There's a bunch of goofy people that are calling realtors, and I'm sure a lot of them get sick of not people
like
calling
spam.
them,
Yeah.
not spam, just other investors that are, you know, wasting their time. I always say when I talk to people, whether it's a contractor or a realtor, I'm in a group of, uh, I say whatever. I'm part of a group of investors, about 100 other investors, 150 other investors, and I'm talking about the apprenticeship, investor creator group. Like, and if you do a good job for me, I can assure you, like, I'll let everybody in my group know that, you know,
You did a good
you
job.
did a good job. I'll put your stuff on the site. So, I mean, I let them know, like, this isn't like hey, I'm an investor buying one house here and like I'm gone forever. Like, and I tell them, how many houses do you think the group buys, Brad, a month?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
It's
Anyway,
it's an obscene amount.
yeah, I make up a high number and I say it. So,
That's kind of makes up numbers sometimes.
I got that from Grant Cardone. Check him out.
That's funny.
But yeah, no, I do say, I think that matters, if you're just if they perceive you to be just one person by yourself, or you're a part of a group of investors, yada, yada, yada. I mean, it's helped me out with people, just for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know for us, we have realtors across the country that we have worked with now for years that are good, and most of the markets, I mean, specifically in the Southeast, we know who that realtor is going to be, but just because we've transacted so much in those markets. And I mean, there are times whenever you have to find a good realtor, and there are times whenever you really just can't. And I think that that's a good testament. Now, you ended up getting multiple offers on that house anyway, correct?
We've had like 10 showings. We don't have an offer yet.
Okay, so you've had 10 showings, no offers yet, and it's been on for a couple weeks, something like that.
2 weeks, yeah.
The Thursday before the election. So I guess,
Okay.
You got it. Go.
yeah, like 10 days or something like that.
Cool, got it. All right. So I'm gonna holler at Stuart real quick in the chat. He says, after a successful triage call where you work out a 70% or better value, how quickly do you move to the perfect presentation call? So let me just pause there. How quickly are you guys moving from the first phone call to the second phone call to look at getting the deal?
Very quickly.
So what does that look like?
I'm trying to set it immediately. And she's looking at me crazy because sometimes I just do it all in one call.
What we got to $1 million in equity on Wes doing all one call closes.
Cool. All right. So
I mean,
as soon as possible.
I'm looking up the numbers. Before I call them in that 5 minutes, I'm looking it up. I'm doing it. I got in my head kind of what I think it's worth. I'm talking to them. I'm trying to get it on paper. We can go back and renegotiate. And again, follow the program, don't follow me. But I'm trying to get the paper as quick as possible, you know?
Gotcha. So
So
for most people, I'm going to say, guys, like as quickly as you can while all decision makers are there. So if that's 15 minutes, great. And there are many times we'll do 15 minutes. Sometimes they pull you to a one call close. I remember James hollering at me, and there's this guy in the military that was like going to Guantanamo Bay or whatever. And the guy was like, "Hey man, just send me something right now. I'll sign it. I'll sign it." I'm like, "Dude, you better send it." And so you have times where that happens, but we generally do a two call close, but we try to get those as quickly as we can. Back to back. So 15 minutes is cool, 30 minutes is cool. If a decision maker is at work at that point and they're in a situation where you have to wait until they get home from work, that's fine. But as quickly as you can get all decision makers together in one place so that they can come to a good decision to sell you the house, right? To wrap it up, like any final thoughts for anybody looking to get into the business like, or maybe like what's one or two like big golden nuggets that you would want to know whenever you started?
Goodness, I don't know. I'm with you, Brad. There's some people that I did call somebody and spend 2.5 hours convincing them to join Investor Creator, and that's been a really good investment for her, Jen Baker. But there's other people that this is hard, I think, because I saw that Jen really had what it took. I know her and Eric well, and was just like, you guys have to do this. And it's hard because I want to encourage like certain friends to do it, but like you said, you don't want to tell people to do it, and it's like they don't really just like commit to it.
Yeah.
So I don't really know where I was going with that, but I find it to be extremely, I think it's fun. I think it's good to make money and it to be fun, and it's something that me and Wes get to do together. I spent before this 10 years, raising children, and so and I'm still doing that, obviously. But this was like a good uh break. I was using my mind for something different than second grade math and teaching kids to read, which I love to do. I even teach at our homeschool tutorial, but this was something good that was good for both of us, I think. And so I don't know. I just see that a lot of people have potential, but you just have to be committed, and just like Wes has been saying this whole time, like just do what Investor Creator, teaches you to do. And yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that very much. And it's been a lot of fun seeing you guys win. Wes, any final thoughts for you, man?
yeah, so two things. One, like if you're in the group or if you join the group, the question there was in about a 6 month period, the question, is that the least you would take right there at the end of that call? We made, I think it was north of $150,000 in asking that question 3 times. That if I wouldn't have asked that question, I still would have had 70% deals. I still would have made good money. We'd still be sitting here talking about seven figure club, but like you should ask that question. Really, at anything you do, we'd save like a couple $1,000s at Airbnb last year also from asking that question. So is that the least you would take? Is a very important question when buying these houses. And two, just follow the script, I mean, if you want it, it's all laid out. It's going to take hustle, it's going to take grind, but it doesn't take you don't have to be Elon Musk, it's all right there. It's really effort. That's what it comes down to. It's just effort. And you got all these calls, you got all these people you can ask. You can ask James. You can go on there with oh, from Alabama. What's his name? I'm forgetting his name.
Carl.
Carl, yeah. You can go on there with Carl. You got all these people you can ask questions. Like you're not just flying blind. It's not, I want to be a real estate investor and this sounds good. And these people made a lot of money, so we can go do it too. Like you got the group, you got the calls where you can ask literally everything, and just whenever you get the answer, whenever you get the answer, just do what they say to do. Some of those people want to ask every single person the same exact question, which could get, it's just strange when that happens. But nonetheless, ask a question, do what they say to do, follow the program, and you're going to be Gucci. I mean, you're going to be good. I don't know how to say it any better than that, dude. I mean, again, I wasn't paid as much as Beyonce got paid to show up for 4 minutes at the DNC.
Fair enough.
I saw that number today and I thought, boy, I wonder if Brad's gonna give me 10 million to come talk.
10 mil, man. Is that the least you would take? No,
Insane.
I had to. All right. So, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Guys, Leah, Wes, thank you guys so much for being here. It's always fun to hang, number one, but secondly, you guys have been uh, it's been so much fun to see you guys come up, and I know you guys are really still just starting, and it's been so much fun to see. Guys, if you want to apply to learn these techniques, these strategies that we were talking about today, then be sure and check that out in the chat. I'm going to keep the room open. I'm going to go to the chat and answer any questions you guys might have. So I'll keep the room open. So admins, don't shut down the room yet. I'm going to hang out for about 5-10 minutes and any questions you guys have. Everybody have a good night. Thank you guys for being here.